We're back.
It has
I'm
been
so excited.
a hot minute since we've been here. I am well overdue for some therapy.
Oh my gosh. I've missed you. I hope the people have missed us. Don't worry, guys. We're season 5. It's game time.
It's so nice to be back in all of your ears and talking to you.
Absolutely. Liv, tell me. And for those listening, Liv and I haven't really downloaded on the holiday biz. We're obviously just back from summer holidays. So this is like, you're getting the real chats from us right now. I want to know everything, Liv. Start me from day dot of Christmas holidays. How was it?
Let's just be clear on one thing. This is everything I want my mum to hear, not what I don't want my mum to hear, right? So this will be the PG version.
We'll have like a Parenthood up late for the juicy goss.
That's it. I just love Christmas. I've always loved Christmas, right? So, I'm the person that puts up my Christmas tree in November. So to have 2 months of just pure joy, although pure crazy, as we know, the lead up to Christmas is just mayhem.
Yeah.
It was so nice to get to Christmas Day and see the kiddies open their presents, although having 2 boys born in January too, and Noah's a December baby, I've got so much stuff everywhere.
Yes.
So there's going to be a big bag of toys going to the op shop, I suspect, at some point.
Yeah.
But no, beautiful break, great Chrissy, beautiful time just away from work. I take most of January off, which we should probably talk about. Am I regretting that?
Yeah, good or bad decision? What are you thinking?
Don't know. It's a bloody long time with those kiddies. I take my hat off to anyone who is permanently at home with their kiddies, because boy, oh boy. But we went up to Port Douglas too, as many of you know that we do, and that was a time plane ride that I'll tell you about a little bit later. But all in all, straight back into it. Semi-exhausted, I've got to say. I think I have finished January feeling more exhausted than what I felt in December, which is strange to get your head around, isn't it?
Oh, can I ask, so with daycare, when did they go back? What date was it, do you remember?
Probably mid-Jan.
We were mid as well.
17th the Jan.
Why
like
do they have daycare start so late?
Well, I've got no one to blame but myself. Our daycare's open.
Right.
But mum guilt, I tell you, I've already got themes coming for you. This is therapy. Oh my God. So it gets to about mid-year every year and I put in annual leave for January because my mum guilt is eating away at me of working full-time. Yeah. And in my head, given I love summer and I have this whole idea, and I think I spoke about on the pod after listening to one of Hamish Blake's podcasts about you only have a small number of summers. So before your kids are 16 and 17 and want to hang out with their own friends. And that just resonated with me so much that now I'm just like, I'm going to make January count and I'm going to spend every day at the beach and we're just going to make these beautiful memories. So I took the kids out of daycare. Yeah. And I was kind of regretting that towards the end of Jan. And I was like, I just need a day of respite, please. Yes. I don't know. It's just like having everyone together. It's just it was too much. Anyway, gorgeous memories. Great memories. Got all the photos for Insta. Picture perfect. Hey, Insta versus reality. Have I got a story for you? So your daycare closes.
So ours
and then
closed.
ELC,
Yeah, so with Noah, he's at ELC at a school, and that's school holidays. So the same holidays as schools have, which is for fucking ever. Can I just say they are on holidays forever? Like I was literally like, do you even attend school? Like this is.
Do you remember our parents saying that?
Oh,
what do we pay for? You're always on holidays.
Like crazy. So basically, Charlie, the 2.5-year-old's daycare, was closed up until mid-Jan. So we decided to stay at the beach. We went to the Mornington Peninsula and spent time with family, which was lovely. And look, I really shouldn't complain in that I did have family support to some extent. However, the daily grind of wake up and there they are,
what are we going to do today?
Fighting, screaming before it's like you've even like barely opened your eyes. Oh my God. Okay. Talking about waking up hysterical. So let's talk about New Year's Eve and New Year's. Let's start there. Okay. So I was like, New Year's Eve, I'm going to be so low key. We were down at the beach. Yeah. I just can't can't be bothered. These kids are going to wake up at 6 a.m. So we actually had a guest from Greece staying with us as well. And my parents were down, and Jules was there too, my husband. So they all stayed up, the adults. And I was actually like, no, I'd like to go for I'm a bit of a dork these days, goes to show how things have changed. But I was like, I'll go for a run New Year's Day, start my year fresh.
New Year's resolutions, exercising every day. Might as well 6 a.m. New Year's Day, come at me.
Hit me, #self-care, and all this. So anyway, I get in bed. I'm so proud of myself, put myself to bed at 9 o'clock, reading my book. I got really into books actually this summer, but reading my book and then go to sleep. Within an hour, Noah's up. Oh, it's hot because I don't know if you remember, and depending on where you were, it was very hot. And when it's hot, the kids just don't sleep well. And we had the aircon going, but then I get nervous having it on all night because I'm like, they're going to get a cold. Like, what if the temperature drops and I'm half asleep? They don't really know about putting blankets on them. Certainly Charlie doesn't. So I'm like, oh my God, the complications.
Dialogue of a mum.
Honestly.
This is the mental load. All of these things.
You just can't settle. No, so anyway, he's up. Noah decides to get up every hour. When I finally feel like he's gone to sleep, the fireworks start. And I'm like, of course, the bang, bang, bang. And he's got up. What's going on? I'm like, I may as well have just stayed up, had some champagne, enjoyed myself, have him sitting there as well, watching the fireworks on TV. Meanwhile, here I am exhausted, trying to sleep, frustrated over it. So anyway, the morning comes. I'm not feeling fresh at all. I'm literally dying. The kids wake up. Peachy, happy as, Larry, 6 a.m. So I'm like, all right, look, just put yourselves in front of the TV. I need to sleep. I'm dying, right? So go back to sleep. There's fighting going on in the other room between them. And then anyway, next minute, Charlie comes charging into our room with I was looking at him. He's like, Mum, look. And I think I remember telling you last year, this was a bit of an issue with Charlie really wanting to explore what's inside of his nappy as far as, and so he comes up to me, fistful of poo, Mum, change my nappy. And all happy. And I was like, welcome to the new year. That beach run, no. It's good to have goals, but no.
I would have cried. I absolutely would have cried and been like, take me back to 2022. I'm not ready for this.
Another day in the life. I don't know. How was your did you actually get up to anything on New Year's Eve, or what was your?
No, we did something similar. Mark and I just had a barbie at home, put the kids to bed, popped a bottle of champagne, and were in bed by 9:30. Perfect. Yeah. And I did the same thing. Wanted to go for a run New Year's Day. I was like, self-care. I'm going to run this year. I ran on the 1st and I ran on the 2nd, and then I reminded myself as to why I don't make New Year's resolutions.
Drop the mic. No, not for me.
I don't know. With kids on holidays, I think I've got a new theory. When you're all the four of you are together, in our case, 2 kids, mum and dad. Yeah, that's when it seems to be chaos for me. But if I just have one, or even maybe 2 at a stretch, but only for a short time, it's fine. It's like when there is more of us, maybe because our attention is spread across all members of the family. They're just feral. I don't know. So I'm all for just give me 1 kid per day. Yes. And I'll see you, husband, at the end of the year because that's the way for survival. And I love my kids so much more. I have said many a time in Real Talk on these little podcasts about Harry, my 2-year-old, who I've probably described as, very spirited and busy and demanding and hard work. When he's by himself, he's an angel child. So I've realised that that's perhaps a big part of our problem, that I wasn't maybe giving him the attention that he needed, which is why he was acting out a little bit. So
it's so true what you're saying. And I feel the same with, Noah, our oldest, is the more spirited child. And I do agree with you. So I've got Charlie actually. So I don't know if it's age dependent, because for a while there, Noah had chilled and Charlie was chaos, but now seems to have flipped recently, which is just delightful. And no, when they're together, it's like Noah, the oldest, is trying to prove a point. And so he's extra narky and doesn't listen. The doesn't listen piece is huge for me. I feel like the number of grey hairs I have grown in the last 6 weeks over kids not freaking listening. We're catching up with Maggie Dent soon for an episode that's coming up, which we have so many questions. My questions, Liv, are around how do you get children to listen?
You know she's going to be on for 2 hours for us because Maggie, save us.
They don't listen.
They listen when they want to listen. When
they
it's
want
like, do you want something to eat? And they're actually starving or thirsty. That's the only time. If they're not hungry, well, then they've tuned out. And, you know, do you know something my mum has said to me? Shout out, Mum. Here you go. Mum, you've helped me so much. Mum keeps saying to me, stop asking them questions, like giving them an option. I keep saying, Tommy, do you want sausages or meatballs for dinner? Do you want this or that? She's like, stop asking them. They don't actually know. They're 2 and 4. Just tell them they don't get a choice. That's what I did with you, and look how perfect you are.
I love that. Tough love, baby. Like, no one got time for
with
questions.
Mum and Dad, I had a lot of tough love, that's for sure.
Yeah, really? Any other hot pointers? Tell us. Any other winners that we should consider?
I think so, stop asking them what they want and giving them options. And the second one was just Mum suggesting that we need to give more boundaries, which is perhaps along the lines of the questioning. Again, they don't actually get a choice if they're going to the playground or the beach. Yeah. We're going to do this. This is when we're going to do it. It's going to be for half an hour. And when they're starting to be mischievous, letting them know no at that point, not... You know, when you're in a public place and, you know, we've spoken about it before too, you don't want to, you know, act out or yell at them, or you're so conscious about what everyone else is thinking. They're probably thinking nothing, because half of them are parents themselves and going, shit, I'm right there with you. Yeah. But you don't perhaps discipline the same way that you might at home. No way. So then the kid knows that they can just run and do whatever they want. Yes. So I think that was probably another example where Mum's like, you need the boundary here. It doesn't matter where we are. They need to know that they can't step out of the restaurant or yell in the restaurant or pull the fork and stab the brother in the
It's so true. And I think this is where holidays have set us off the rails a little bit. So during our time, we spent predominantly at the Mornington Peninsula. We had a lot of family coming and going. My sisters came, my sister's boyfriend came. We're constantly having people around us. So guess what? I'm the same. I don't want to discipline in front of other people. So, hey, they were just, particularly Noah, was running amok. I'm throwing chocolate at him to make him stop. Like, you know, when you're just like,
that's the other problem. I've gone through 48 bags of Freddos. Like, that's the why they're filled, because of the sugar that we plowed into them.
Like rewarding bad behavior with Freddos. You're like, just shut up, mate. Take it. I just can't tell you off in front of these people. It's so bad. Actually, talking about
like, what are we scared of? Like, we're just scared of the judgment. I don't like
the judgment.
I'm trying to, just try and understand what is that about? Do you know, like, why should I care what other people think? Like,
it's kind of like I want to feel like I've got this. And for that reason, I used to look at other parents actually talking about judge before I was a parent, and someone screaming at their kid in a shopping centre, and I'd be like, cringe, like, mate, get your shit together. Like,
or your child's so naughty.
Yes. Like, what is going on in your household? And now I've got one of those little terrors, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to be that parent but then, because I judged. And so now I'm judging myself. And so I wait, the shopping centre examples, I wait till we get in the car. I'll say to Noah, listen, if you continue on, we're going to have a chat in the car. And I kind of try to be as stern as I can in that moment. And he's like, yeah, whatever, mate. Don't give a shit. Get in the car. And then I've let it rip at him once when I was like that. And you don't, because what he done was he went... we were in a fruit shop. Oh, no, we were in Leo's in Hawthorne, right? And they had all their salami out. So I'm buying like ham and salami from across the counter, and they had all like the sort of those little sausagey salami things that they're not fully wrapped. They had them out in front of us. So what does he do? He's jumping around. It's taking too long at the deli, grabs a sausagey salami thing and puts it in his mouth and just bites into it, and then starts screaming because it's so hot. And I was like, okay, twofold. I've got this horrendous terror screaming because he bit into fresh, like this salami, hot salami. And now I have to buy this $25 piece of salami that I don't even need. Literally, you children are costing me enough as it is. So I got in the car and I was like, and he was all like, da-da-da-da-da, like thinking everything's right. I was like, you never touch things in shops. You never put food in your mouth. Like, and he was kind of like, oh shit, okay, now this is the real deal. So I've done that once. It was semi-successful, but they're still just jack in the boxes. How do you discipline? Like,
I'm just trying to teach Tommy, like, cause and effect, action, consequence.
Yes.
Good consequence, bad consequence. Mummy, bad. When mummy gets angry, that's a bad consequence. So he touched a light bulb recently.
Oh,
and
no.
he burnt. So again, that was another example of sometimes you will do things. What do you have to learn? I don't know. He's 4, like whether or not he actually understands. But like just trying to do some teaching.
Yes. Did he burn himself severely, or was he okay?
No, it was it was a shock. So you know what they're like when they get shocked, and you can't actually work out if they're injured or not. You know, they're just screaming and screaming. You're like, oh my God, do we need to go to the hospital right now?
Yes.
But no, he was fine. Thankfully.
He was okay. Okay, so let's talk about hospitals. And so I feel like I can't go between episodes with you without telling you about some hospital update.
Oh my goodness.
So what this time, oh my God. So this time, so it was summer break, where going to the beach in the beach cart. The kids love the beach cart. You pop everything in, your towels and everything, and the kids will sit in it, and off we go. We pull the cart to the beach, right? The best. But this time around, Noah was inquisitive and noticed these massive wheels on the beach cart. The beach cart can hold about 100 kilos, so it's like a solid cart. The
beach
best,
cart and a cool cabana. Like what else?
Oh, like happy freaking days. It's just a shame that when you get to the beach, you can't fully enjoy yourself because you're running after the kids, but still fantastic. So anyway, so Noah decides, okay, I'm going to touch the wheel of the beach cart just to like see what that would feel like. And he essentially, what happened was he ended up burning off his skin, skin on his thumb, on the inner side of his thumb, was sort of torn. And I remember seeing it. So he screams. I saw it. All I could see was like blood on his thumb. I was like, oh, you should be right. Like, I was like, oh, let's just go home. We'll grab a Band-Aid, give you some Panadol, and you should be fine. We'll go to the beach. And so I was like, that's why you don't touch things. And he was like, so anyway, we get home, put the Band-Aid on, and it wasn't a huge area. So I was like, I reckon a Band-Aid should be fine. And then, I'll give him a bit of Panadol. Off we go to the beach. And I could just sort of tell he was very, like, he was a bit off at the beach. Anyway, best parent of the year. By the time we get home, he's still being really funny about his thumb. And then eventually I just look at it and I go, you know what? He's not going to be able to sleep at night, because as soon as he puts his hand fully down, he'll be like, my thumb. And we're going to be up all night. And maybe it is a bit more severe than I originally thought. So,
did you go to the hospital so they'd tranquilize for the night? Or I was
like, I need to get some sleep tonight. I feel like my kid's going to crap my style. So no. So anyway, so we go to the this private hospital because I didn't realize, for those who ever are in the Mornington Peninsula, if you have children and you need a hospital, the closest public hospital is actually the Monash, which is a fair trek from Mornington Peninsula. So there are some private hospitals though in like Frankston area. It's called like Mornington Private or whatever.
How did you find this out? Were you just
we just Googled it, and we've got private health. So I was like, you know what? Even if it is, we ended up paying $450, like just to be looked at, even though you have private health, but it meant that it was quicker. We were in a, there was no one there. We looked at it almost immediately. Happy days. So, so we went to the hospital. They looked at it. They cleaned the wound. I had that child that, as they're trying to like just put a bit of antiseptic on it, he is screaming bloody murder. Like the whole hospital was like shuddering from his thunderous scream, and I was like, whoa,
so sensitive.
Right. So I had him in front of his iPad because like I need to distract him from the pain, and they're trying to do what they're doing, and he's trying to watch his show, but semi like, and it was just the worst. But anyway, in the end, we actually had to like, I had to like hold him down because he kept flinching and they couldn't wrap it properly. And I was literally like, this is the worst experience of my life. But thankfully they put like a really solid wrap around the thumb, and then they actually bandaged his whole hand because they said if he gets bumped, and I'm like, he has a toddler brother and they slam into each other all the time, you're better off tying the whole hands up so it's like fully protected. So we spent the next week of the summer holidays with his hand in like this full
Could he
wrap.
go to
He
the
couldn't even
beach,
use
or...
it. We didn't really go. Thankfully, at that point, the weather had, you don't want sand in it. And he didn't like me cleaning it. And so it was just this whole thing, like, with Charlie last year.
This in 2023 too?
This was 2023.
2023, yeah.
Like, oh my God. But anyway, long story short, it was very lucky. He recovered quite quickly and it was happy days. But God, they keep you on your toes, don't they? Like, have you had any... have you had any recent hospital visits or?
We haven't had any hospital visits, but Tommy particularly has just been really off colour. Like I can't work out what's wrong with him. Like occasionally he'll have a temp, Then he had a bit of a cough. I'm COVID testing him still. Why do I have to say that word?
Yeah,
3 years later.
Yeah.
So I'm actually, this is real time. I'm taking him to the doctor this week because we're probably 2 weeks in, and he's just black under the eyes. Oh. He's just not himself. And I'm starting to go, shit, I hope it's nothing. There's like, you start to go to places that you don't want to go. So I'm like, I'm just taking him for peace of mind. I'm sure he's fine. He did also have his 4-year-old injections kind of part way through this, so he might have been trying to fight something, then he got the 4-year-old injection, and it's just kind of prolonged it. So that's my current explanation in my head, but I'm gonna go check it out just to be sure.
Always better too. You never
all these things, we're not experts in this, right? Like as you said, like you look at something and you go, oh, she'll be right. Next minute you're like, oh gee, that was actually a lot worse. I'm like, sorry, darling.
I always go with like the immediate tough love, and then like, so both times I've been to the hospital, it's like the immediate tough love, and then several hours later I'm like, oh, okay, better take this one seriously. But anyway, parent of the year over here.
We're doing the best we can.
The best we can. So then poor little Noah, his hand gets better. Happy days. So we come back to Melbourne. Daycare started, but of course school hasn't. So I've got Noah at home with me. And I remember this was only recently, right? So he had orientation at the school for a 4-year-old. So, all right, first time that we're heading to the school for a little while. I'm excited. Let's get this show on the road. Let's get these kids back in school. So anyway, that morning, I don't know if you're having a similar problem, but for me, the process of getting them out the door in the mornings is an effing nightmare. So anyway, I'm with just Noah this time. I've dropped Charlie off with just Noah. You know, I had him in front of the TV. I'm trying to get something done, and we're about to leave. Get your socks on. And he's like, you know, being a worm as I'm trying to like get his socks on him. And then I was like, cool, go up to the toilet and then we'll go. And he had been so excited about going to orientation. And he was like, no, I'm not going to. And I'm like, just go to the toilet and then we'll go. And then he's like, no. And I left him for a few minutes, came back. Have you been to the toilet? No. I was just, I don't want to go. My truck. And I was literally like, okay, child, you need like, and so then I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave without you to your orientation. I will be there myself without my child. And he goes, oh, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach this kid a lesson. So I grab my handbag, I storm out the door, slam the door behind me, and I'm standing on the other side of our door, and I hear him. And it's almost like I could hear the shock in his face initially. He comes running up to the door. The door's locked because I'd locked it, and, you know, he thought I'd walked off. And he's screaming, and he's pounding on the door. And I'm there. He's like, Mommy! And I was literally like, once again, parent of the year. Would anyone like to walk past while this is happening to make me feel even better about myself? So anyway, I'm there letting him go. And then I was like, okay, he's had it. He's learned his lesson. So I opened the door and he's like hyperventilating. And I'm like, see, I told you I will go if you don't want to get if you don't want to listen. And it's the listening piece. And this had probably been like the 30th time that morning that he hadn't listened. I was like, if you don't want to listen, then I've got things to do, mate. And he was like, fine. So he storms up the stairs to go to the bathroom. He gets to the top of the stairs, and then I hear whack, and then I hear bah! So he had stubbed his toe on like a door or something, and I'm like, oh my God. So I race upstairs. There is blood everywhere.
No. Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh my God, we're going to have to go back.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And they're going to be like, how did this happen? Oh, well, I'd like left the house and then I decided to come, you know. And I was like, so anyway, I'm there. I'm trying to, and then he's running up and down the corridor, right? So he'd gone into the bathroom. There's tiles in there. There's blood on the tiles. Then he's screaming, running up and down our corridor, which is carpeted, blood just everywhere. And I'm like looking at my clock and I'm like, how is this
stuff happen?
How is this happening?
I hope you have like platinum private
So what do? I'm like, yep, she'll be right. Put a bit of antiseptic on it, Band-Aid up the toe. I was like, you are going to your orientation, because I was like, I've just had it, and I was, and then as I was, and I could sort of saw it. I saw like a little cut that it didn't look that bad. Again, me always thinking So anyway, me always thinking, okay, you know, the worst won't happen, should be sweet. So anyway, so he goes off, we go to orientation, and then I leave him there. And by the time, the whole day, I'm thinking, and it was only a few hours, I'm thinking, oh my God, when I get back, I'm going to have to go to the hospital. Like, I reckon he's probably broken his toe now. Like, if he's still in pain when I get back, then I'm going back to that hospital. Anyway, I get back to orientation to pick him up, and he's there all smiley. And I turned to the teacher. I told the teacher, look, he had hurt his toe as we just arrived. You know, we were about to leave for the school. Can you keep an eye on him? And if you're noticing that he's getting a little bit upset, call me, and I'll just, you know, I'll come back. I'm like,
I'll drop everything.
Do if I have to. So anyway, so I come back, and the teacher's like, oh no, he was fine, all good. And I was like, oh, well, that's the first time that I actually got it right with the Band-Aid.
Oh, the poor little buddy.
But the point is, how did
he
teach
learn
the lessons?
So was it worth it?
I'd love to say now I've nailed it, and every time we're ready to go anywhere, he's like ready to go. I will threaten leaving, and he moves a lot quicker, let me tell you, than he usually did. So he's learning, and I actually raised it with the school. So we had like parent-teacher like sessions, and they essentially with the new teacher, so that they can understand the child's weaknesses and strengths before the year kicks on. And so I said to her, look, my biggest thing is this child doesn't listen. And I'm like, I'm losing my mind. And I was like near tears, because I was like, it's just so hard. Like, it's funny, we're telling the stories now, whatever, but the reality is it is such a stress when you are constantly getting pushback for like the smallest things. I mean, I should say, FYI, I love my child, so I'm not sitting. This is therapy though, guys. So we're going to give it to you straight. Obviously, unconditional love is clear, but this pushes us to the edge. This is the edge stuff. This is the edge stuff. And so she's actually said, if for example, you're finding the process bit of like, we do this, then we do this, there's a time to play and there's a time to get ready, difficult, there are actually these cards where you can actually put them at eye level for them. And it's like the brushing teeth card, and they will actually put that and stick that sort of to a little chart. Okay, let's go brush teeth. And then I'll be like, cool, you know, there's a little shoes, little square that you can then put out. It's time for shoes. And they feel a level of ownership for that activity because they're putting the little, you know, square with the image on a chart indicating the activity that they're about to do next. And like, there are reward charts, there are all these things. So I was like, I might have to just start looking into things like that, because I'm done with the screaming and the pushing, as in trying to totally constantly feeling like I need to encourage, oh, come on, please put your shoes on. I'm done with that.
It's so dependent on your child, I reckon, like in terms of what they will listen to, what they're motivated by. Like, we have a reward chart for Tommy.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
It started with just trying to get him to eat his vegetables. He would get a sticker if he eats his vegetables. And if he gets 25 stickers, he can go to the shops and choose something from the shops.
Okay.
We had it in place for maybe about 6 weeks, probably 2 months ago, and then he just got over it and we're back to yelling. But for a 6-week period of both eating vegetables and listening, it improved, because he was all about the toy and, you know, the gratification of, I am going to get that Batmobile or whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah.
So that worked for us for this period.
Yeah.
We've just got to find the right time. But I would definitely do it again. I think if I'm trying to correct something or but that worked for Tom. I can't imagine that ever working for Harry.
Right.
But that could be an age thing.
Yes.
And I do think that they suggest having reward charts usually around 4 and older, once they get it.
Yeah.
So that might be something to, give a try too.
Do you remember?
Maybe Maggie will be able to help.
Maybe Maggie.
I can't get these kids out the door in the morning without mummy literally screaming or having to put myself in the room and close the door and breathe 3 times before I go back in. Yeah. I really detest myself some of those mornings.
Yeah, and it's the worst feeling. Like, you don't want to feel angry when you're starting your day. Like, you just have barely woken up. Like, you know, or I'll put them in front of the TV and then I'll dress them. I mean, look, it's actually survival at this point. Dressing them in front of the TV just so I can get them out the door. Like, otherwise, I'm just in the worst mood before I've started my day. And then, you know, your phone rings for work and you're already like, what? What do you want?
I've often thought, and if my team are listening to this, they've seen this 1,000 times when they walk in the morning and I'm literally, they're like, oh, I really could do with a coffee. I'm like, you could do with a coffee. Do you know what I've done already? And it's not even 8:30. I run 4 marathons.
I could do with a wine, let me tell you. Oh no, I love it. No, anyway, the realities of being at home with these children and trying to get it all together. But you know, the year's now kicked off. We are on to bigger and better things, and hopefully external influences like, you know, the educators can sort of support in these good learning behaviours as well. So
well, yeah, the educators have all the tricks, and I'm starting to listen to Mum a little bit more too, and Mark's mum too. Has taught me a lot this last summer. So now I've got my listening ears on. Yeah. Because I need help. I'm now, hands up, I need help. It's working out in my favour too.
The years of wisdom that the other generation has. They've got to bring something to the table, right?
That's it. They know a few things.
Yeah. Love that. Oh, Liv, well, it's always good to chat, my love. We'll leave it there. We'll catch you all next time.
See you then.
See ya.